All right, guys. Um, Welcome to the second video on renewing your academic strength. Okay, now this video I'll just do a little bit of recap on what I did for the first video, just a little bit, just about a minute, and then we'll head straight to the other points for today. Now, first of all, please, if you've not subscribed to the channel, try as much as possible to do that. Um, in the first video I talked about the fact that we must have a goal that we are really working with, and not just having a goal. We need to break those goals into achievable bits, right? I talked about the CA. I talked about how your goal is what motivates you, how your goal is what you are seeing, and what enables you to really push through to achieve the academic excellence you've been willing and wanting to achieve over time. So I also talked about the fact that we need to have what I called an incremental mindset or incrementalism. It means that you already have something you've built on from year one, and you need to build on that thing. You need to add something to what you've already done. What this helps do is that it saves you time. It gives you an opportunity to really have more content in your writing. So I said we have things like modernization theory. You will continue to do modernization theory, I think, from your year 2 to your final year. You continue to do the dependency theory. You continue to do politics. You continue to do systems theory. You continue to do a lot of other topics which you've already treated in year one. But then what you have to do is not to start from beginning again, because you have a prior knowledge. So I what I do most times is that I have a notes, and what I do is, when I see a topic that looks like the one I've already done before, I revisit my notes and I check other materials I add to it and see how to become better. So some of those things, some of those ideas I have already are sticked here. So when I get into the exam hall, I already know that, oh, I have an idea of this thing. So I just work on it and it comes out well. So that was some of the things we talked about, in the first video. Now the second video, I'll be talking about very important things here. Please, if you didn't pay attention to the first video, please, as much as possible, pay attention to this one, because I think this is where the whole essence is. This second video. Now, when you want to, you know, retain your academic performance, even though your strength has been dwindling on, or if you want to renew your academic strength, one of the things that you must do as a matter of urgency is that you must study your lecturers. You must study your lecturers. Now, there are only two things that can make you get an A or an F in a course. Those things are your assessment and your examinations. Your assessment and your examinations. It's usually assessment 30 marks and examinations 70 marks, right? So the lecturers sometimes don't even care. Most times that's how it is in our Nigerian universities. They don't care if you are in school, but so far as you do well in your examinations, you do well in your tests, you are okay for a good grade. But the method of dispensing these um, examinations and even the test or assessment differs. Some persons will do what we call presentation. Some persons will do test. Some persons will do book review. Some persons will do what's it called now? Both test and presentation, or both test and book review. Some persons will give assignments. So you need to study how the lecturers operate. Some lecturers give impromptu tests. In fact, when they come to class and the class is few, it motivates them to give tests. There are lecturers like that. There are lecturers I will never miss their class again in my life. Why? Because missing their class had taught me a lesson. Right? Okay, so let me just do a little bit of recap um, for some of our lecturers in political science department, University of Port Harcourt. So a lecturer like Dr. Nte, who happened to be the former HOD, has a high tendency of giving tests when there are no much persons in class. In fact, I missed one of his tests. That was recently, last semester. I missed one of his tests. Now, if you have been missing classes, or if you actually want to miss classes, you have things you want to do and all of that, please, if he is taking you, it means that you have to be present in almost classes. You have to be present. In fact, he started taking attendance serious from the first class. It was about 15 persons that came to class that day, and he took attendance. The hand he used to treat us in year one was different from year two, was different from year three. So you must understand this, that this is how this lecturer is, and then you follow him. There are lecturers that are too strict. There are lecturers who don't come late to their classes. There are lecturers, before you answer a question, you must say your name and all of that. So this is where senior colleagues come in. They tell you this is how this lecturer operates, and then you abide by it. For example, a lecturer, but Professor O.S. Amadi and even Professor Nna Johnson, those persons should know that the assessment comes through uh, presentation. So even if you miss class, in fact, there are a lot of persons who miss their classes and still get good grades. There are persons like that. So you know that it is presentation. So what you do is that you buckle up. When the presentation time comes in, you put in as much energy as possible. And in fact, some lecturers will go as far as giving you their questions. Some lecturers will go as far as giving you the you will use, that they will give you in the examinations. They will give it to you to go home and go and study it. So for such lecturers, class attendance is good, but not compulsory. Do you get? So you need to study them. There are also lecturers that will tell you that, okay, this is what I will give in examinations, and they will not bring it. There are lecturers that their pattern is they don't bring um, direct questions, they bring applied questions. So you need to know all of these things, right? You need to understand and study your lecturers. Ask questions about the lecturers that you're going to meet every session, every semester. For example, I'm going into final year now. There are lecturers I've been told, oh, this lecturer is too strict to. What it means is that I'll be more cautious with that lecturer. There are lecturers that you talk in their exam. In fact, I know of a lecturer who allows people use phone in exams. Like, he's not too concerned about, oh, you are using phone and all of that. There are some lecturers you don't dare use it in their examinations. So you must study your lecturers and know how much, you know, how strict. You must know how strict. You must know how. So you must know how strict they are. You must know what they prefer. There are also lecturers that prefer you give them back what they gave to you. Yes, there are lecturers like that. They prefer you give them the words they used in teaching you in class. In fact, almost all lecturers will be happy that you do it, but there are some persons that are very obsessed with give me what I gave to you in class. There are lecturers like that. While the other lecturers that want you to go the extra mile, go and study the books, go and study whatever thing, and bring in fact teach me. There are lecturers that want you to teach them. So you must understand these things, right? But in all, my advice to students most times in especially in my department, political science, is for you to always add something to what the lecturer has. Don't go and give him what he gave to you exactly. If you do that, you are settling for highest a B. That's how I see it too. That's how I prepare for all of my exams. I don't prepare for my exams like, let me just give him what he gave to us. Oh, he stopped here, let me stop. No, I try to see how to push the frontiers, so that he will see what I gave to him, and then there's also something more. There's an addition too. Okay, then the second thing in this video, this should be number 4 now, is that you should be scholarly in your writing. Be scholarly in your writing. I had access to, I had the opportunity to see some person's scripts, and I was surprised at how undergraduates could use certain words. Now, if you are writing, for example, you are writing on what is Marxism. You are writing on Marxism. Don't come and tell us Karl Marx preached. Who is preaching? They are what you don't use when you are writing in political science. Somebody, I said something like, Karl Marx was preaching that. Preaching? Come on, you just told the lecturer you don't know what you are doing. See some persons use words like, or should I say, in the book. Oh, okay, let me give you an instance. Now they may say, what Kamas meant was that he gave primacy to material conditions of man. Or should I say, you are right, or should I say, are you okay? You are scholarly. Instead of using preaching, why not say Karl Marx asserted, Karl Marx opined? Or if that one is too big for you, you can just use Karl Marx said. Don't go and use words that turn the lecturer off. So use scholarly words. And one of the ways to actually make sure that your works is scholarly is that if you've not grown to the level where it is part and parcel of you. For me, I can just scribble out some grammar and then it's looking all scholarly. But there are some persons who are not like that. I understand that we have our individual strengths. Then that is where forming your notes is actually very important, because you don't use your words most of the time. You use the words that other persons used. For example, you can go to PDFs. You have an idea, maybe Kama says something, and you also see that same idea in a book, but the way they will present it in that book may be better than the way you have it in your head. So follow the person's own, but learn how the person said his own and say it that way. Do you understand? So yes, be original, but learn to use certain words. Learn to use certain words. Be scholarly. The way you arrange your thoughts. There's some persons that the major thing they are saying is down, 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 down. From A to Z, they are just scribbling. That's not how it should be. For you to maintain consistency, for you to continue to have in fact, I discovered that the higher I went, the more better I became. Yeah, the more better I became. Not because I became better by more reading, more paying attention to my books and all of that. No, it wasn't what increased. What increased was the experience in the department, and that's what I'm sharing to you now. To be scholarly in your work. Some persons will say one idea 5 places. 5 ideas 1 places. You say Kamas talked about the economy. What Kamas was saying was that the economy. Kamas now said that the economy. Kamas now gave primacy to the economy. No. Be scholarly in your work. And this also goes to all those persons who will also write with handwritings that are Arabic in nature. There are handwritings that are Arabic in nature. You just come and see a handwriting that is, oh God. So you work on these things. There are things that when the lecturer just sees, it turns him off immediately. He doesn't want to even give you attention anymore. That is why your introduction must be okay. For me, introduction is very important. Body is very important. Conclusion is also very important. But it's best to have a very nice introduction. You can have a little idea about the body and then conclude properly. So these are some of the tricks that you put into place, and then it will be as if you did charm. It seems as though you did charm. I told you already about writing long. Writing lengthily is one thing that also motivates lecturers to give you something good. So you write long and you put content into it. Don't just write long. Let there be content inside of it. Go beyond what the lecturer taught you. Let his ideas be inside, but tell him that there is something more. Okay, so be scholarly in your writing, right? The next thing is, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Remove greed. That's number 5 now. Don't be greedy. Some persons, in their pursuit for money, you have just 4 years in Uniport. The reason why this teaching on renewing your academic strength is even coming in the first place is because necessity. There's something we call necessity. You are not in school to do business. That's the truth. If you are to do business, your father should have sent you to a business school, or you should have enrolled to a business school somewhere. Your academics first before any other thing. But why business comes in, why some other things comes in, is because of necessity, right? Now, this necessity does not mean you will not prioritize the business over your academics. So if you have an opportunity to be in class, be in class. If you have an opportunity to study, study. Don't say, hey, I want to renew my there are things I will do and I will still later get this in class. Who class help? No. Don't be greedy. Don't prioritize money. Don't prioritize material things over your academics. You just have 4 years, and the difference between your 2-1 and your first class may be a B. Yeah, there are persons like that. If they had changed one B to A, it would have been a first class. There are some persons, if they have changed one B to A, it would have been a 2-1. So they get with something below because one grade kept them. So you put as much energy as possible in all your courses. In all your courses. Only in times where you really have nothing to do about it, that's when you can really, put whatever business or whatever other engagement above your academics. So don't be greedy. Ensure that you do your best when it comes to your academics. Okay. So another thing I would also want to talk about is the fact that you must understand what is important. You must know what is important. By knowing what is important, you must understand that chapter the first chapter of your course outline is a major thing. Yes. For example, if your course is Introduction to Political Science, the major idea behind that course is political science. So you must be asked what is politics, you must be asked what is political science, you must be asked origin of political science. Do you see? So other things that come up are secondary, are just things to garnish the course. For example, if you do a course like globalization and imperialism, what is globalization and what is imperialism are the most important things in that course. That is what that course aims to achieve. So there is no way exams will come and those things will not come out. So some of the times I do predictive. I've not been shown exam questions in dreams before, like some persons will say, but I predict. So I say, okay, what is really the most important thing in this course? There is no way you talk about international relations without talking about realism and idealism. So I must know what realism and idealism is. There are sometimes I'm not able to meet up with everything in the course outline, so I know what is important. I pick them out and they must come out. So you must know the central idea. You must know what is important in the course. You must know what is important in the course, and most times it usually comes in the first chapter. And your knowledge of that first chapter even helps you answer other questions, because sometimes it comes as applied questions. Other ones may come as applied questions. For example, let's say the course title is Imperialism and Globalization. Now you study what globalization is, you study what imperialism is, you study what globalization is, and you study what imperialism is. Now you are asked, number one, what is globalization, for example? Number two, what is imperialism, for example? Number three, mention the characteristics of imperialism and the characteristics of globalization. Now, the only thing you know, let's say for example, what you could read alone was imperialism and globalization. Now, from your idea of imperialism and your idea of globalization, you can carve out something, even if not as exact as what the lecturer gave to you. You can carve out something and tell him, okay, globalization, one of the characteristics of globalization is this. It's not the same thing what he gave to you, but there's an idea that relates to what he gave to you. You see? So you could mention like 5, and in that 5, 2 are correct. So you've gotten something, or 3 are correct, or even all are correct, because your idea of imperialism means that you know what should characterize imperialism. Do you understand? So that is what is most important. You understand the central idea behind every course. The central idea behind every course. You know what is important. You also know what activities are important. So talking about lecturers who give assessment via presentation. So you could miss class but do well in that presentation. Study the presentation very well. if possible be a group leader, whatever, and then blast it. Once you've blasted it, the lecturer is not asking whether you are in his class all through. Then examinations you prepare. And another thing too, let me add this. When it comes to examinations, ensure that you leave everything you are doing and concentrate on your examinations. It's closely linked to, don't be greedy. For example, I may not read from the beginning of the semester till I may not read. I'll just go with my normal activities, with my head knowledge. I'll go to class, and the others I get in class. Sometimes that's what I used to write tests. But when it comes to examinations, I leave everything. Sometimes I leave school environment. What is the aim? I'm trying to focus. So during that time, I can spend 9 hours stretch reading. Yes, I do it. 9 hours, 6 hours, 3 hours, as the case may be. But I'm sitting. I'm letting this thing enter.